we're back.
Welcome to the Edge of the Mirror. I'm Gwen.
I'm Shar. And today we're going to talk about meditation.
Yay!
My favorite thing. One of my favorite things.
Me too.
The reason why I thought about this today was because my cat just freaked me out. That's not why. She's just over there and freaked me out. Was because when we do meditations out at the rehab center, so many times we get people that say things like, I can't meditate, or I did it wrong, or this thought won't leave, or, and I thought, well, maybe we need to do a basic meditation for beginners and novices.
Ooh, I love it.
Right? Because the first thing when you first start meditating is it can be quite daunting, and it can seem really challenging because you got ideas, right?
Well, especially if you're coming from an addictive, dysfunctional lifestyle, it can be scary to close your eyes and be with your own self. Yeah.
To be with those thoughts that you've been not with for a long time.
Yeah, avoiding for X many years. Yeah.
Or with them, but in very dysfunctional ways. So when I've been trained to meditate since I was 9, and took the Silva meditation course when I was 11 with my family, but I didn't use it until, I used it until I was in my young teen years, and then stopped until I was in my mid-20s. So when I decided to start meditating again, my healing started. And it didn't start with, that feels wonderful. It started with, what the is that? Because all of my stuff started surfacing, and including some buried memories, some painful ones. So I was really glad I was in therapy when I started meditating. So I always try to tell people, if you've had traumatic experiences and you start meditating, please make sure you have a support system around you to help you navigate some of the torrents that can come up when we first start.
Because believe it or not, eventually that's what you want meditation. You want stuff to rise up, because then you know how to work with it. If you're not aware, you can't
That's
have
right.
healing, right? So
We're here to make the subconscious conscious.
Yeah.
And meditation is a doorway into the subconscious, because it's your permission slip to get out of your beta mind, which is a brainwave state, and get into alpha and theta. I like to tell people that if you can stay aware in theta, you'll find you can't lie to yourself. You see your patterns, you can gain understanding from them a lot faster.
yeah, which is what I want. I mean, I hunger for that. I like more of that, please, because that's when you start feeling lighter, and yeah. Anyways, go on.
No, it's
I love it.
So what was I saying?
Oh, my bad.
No, it's not. Okay, so when you first start going into yourself and you sit there and you're nervous about what might come up, or you're just nervous, period, because you're sitting with yourself for the first time, maybe ever,
Yeah.
or maybe in a long time, I like to tell people, just sit there. Don't tell yourself to do anything. Be quiet.
Yeah.
Twiddle your thumbs, be as nervous and anxious as you need to be, but pay attention. So the first step in meditation for me is always get to know where you're at.
Yeah. Yep.
In my classes, I used to say, always know where your feet are. Always know where your ass is.
That's the part I like. Everyone goes,
Because as soon as you know where these grounding parts of your body, your bum and your feet are, you start removing yourself from the story in your head about what's happening. And you remind yourself, my feet are on the floor, my ass is in the chair, I'm breathing erratically maybe, but this is what's happening here and now. We call that wise understanding,
yeah,
right?
just being, just sitting as it is.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're just going to sit with it at first. That's it. You don't have to practice any weird technique or say any mantras. Trust me, just sitting with yourself is enough.
It is.
And then the next level to me would be incorporating breath, focused breath, like taking a nice long breath in, holding it for a couple of seconds, and then exhaling a little bit more powerfully than you draw the air in. There's lots of breathing techniques out there. We're not here to give you a technique. We're just here to offer some guidance on how to start and maybe highlight some of the pitfalls and pet a kitty cat that's trying really hard to play with me. So the breathing is a way to focus the mind, right? So in the beginning, you're just sitting with yourself. You're getting to know yourself as you are. And now you're going to breathe in. You're going to focus your mind just on your breath. Right? Sounds simple.
Ha.
My favorite meditation is a Zen meditation where you simply count to 10 with every breath. So breath 1, breath 2, breath 3, breath 4. Inhale and exhale is 1. Inhale and exhale is 2. And all you do is count the breath. And the second your mind jumps in with a story and you're off on the grocery list or what was done yesterday or what somebody said a year ago, you have to start the count over again. Kitty doesn't like that idea either.
My goodness.
So she's just really itchy. Her dermatitis is acting up, and so she's sensitive, and she wants to play really badly. This is a desire effect right here. And I'm not going to pay any attention to it. We're going to keep talking about breath work. Yes, we are. So depending on the kind of breath work you're doing depends on what you want out of the meditation, right?
Right.
What's your favorite breath part of meditating? Do you do
like,
a technique?
In terms of like focus, for me it's on the inhale. Although I've done meditations where they want more of a focus on the exhale, but that's usually harder for me.
That's
like feeling it right. I love like the tip of my nose or like in my nasal cavities as I notice it. But yeah.
Do you ever notice? Have you ever done a meditation where you're breathing with other parts of your body?
Oh, absolutely. Which
those
actually helped me a lot with, I used to have massive panic attacks. I was one of those people that went to the ER for a panic attack because I thought I was having a heart attack. I'm one of those people. And the technique was to like breathing like directly into your lungs through your chest. And I remember, I wrote it down. I have a meditation journal. And I remember writing down like, oh, that was the first time where I noticed like I could loosen, by breathing like directly, imagining that, and the expansion. And yeah.
Isn't that wonderful?
Oh yeah, it's so cool. And pain also.
Goodness.
Like when you have pain and you're breathing into the pain, you do that with them at Cinecor.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's learning to be at peace with your uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
And so I'm a big fan of integration, right?
Right.
And so when we're breathing and we're focused on our breath, and that focus goes inward, right? Like you feel the nostrils and you feel the sinus cavity. Some people feel the larynx. Some people feel their third eye start to tingle, or other parts of the body get warmer or have some kind of sensation. And that's always, for some people, a distraction. When they sense these things, what I call profoundly, so that it catches their attention, right? Something so simple as feeling the air go up your nostrils can be jarring if you've never really focused that intently on something before.
Well, and especially in our modern society with screens, I mean, we're constantly distracted, like all the time, right?
Oh yes.
So I found that in my students, they just can't. It's just focusing on one thing. Like I have them meditate at the beginning of this semester. A lot of people freak out about just shutting their eyes and sitting there.
Yeah, for longer than 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Without having to go like this.
Yeah.
It's like I came in with nervous energy, so I'm always moving unless I'm in a stillness meditation. My body just moves. But now we have all of these stress inducers, which is what a dopamine machine is. It's a stress inducer because it's going after your brain functions to function in a hyper way with dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, and that creates great dysfunction. And when we try to reverse that, it becomes almost a threat. You know,
Yeah.
it feels like a threat to my pleasure, right?
Yeah.
And we over identify our autonomy with our pleasure. You know, well, I should be able to, you know, do this or do that. And so if you replace some of your screen time,
Yeah, that constant stimulation. Yeah.
with some in time,
Yeah.
not downtime, but in time,
Ooh, I like that.
you know,
Ooh, I like that.
because you've got a screen.
Yeah. No
You
kidding.
have a screen, and you can play whatever movie you want on it. And so when we're just sitting with ourselves and breathing with focus, we can literally ask the screen to show us a version of ourselves that we want to be. Always make it a healthy version, please.
Yes.
For me, I always choose, I want to be a more loving person. That seems to be the least invasive and wish thinking that I can create. It must be lunchtime. I think I got our signals wrong. No. So if you use meditation instead to imagine, like in the Silva method, there's this method that's called mirror of the mind, right? And in mirror of the mind, you get yourself into a meditative state, and then you put a screen, like a big TV screen. Super easy for us now to create a screen, right? I created this in the 1970s. My chair in front of it looked like the captain's chair from the Enterprise. And so you have this screen, and you just ask your subconscious to show you an image of yourself that you know to be true and you want to be, right? And you'd be amazed at how many people are afraid to see that. I've had people say, no, I want to see the worst of myself first. I'm like, then just ask to see yourself, because you already think the worst of yourself.
Oh my, yeah.
You're just hiding from that idea. So go ahead and show yourself that and see if you recognize what you see in the mirror, because sometimes they make it overly dramatic because the subconscious can be that way. But this kind of meditation helps us get in touch with who we literally think we are, who we believe we are, and who we want to be, all at a very deep level. And this is why I say you can't lie to yourself down there, because you know instantly which one is authentic. You don't have to sit there and go, well, which one is the real me? You know instantly which one is authentic. You know which one is the victim. You know which one is the superego. You know which one is the shadow self. You know, you instantly know these things. You don't necessarily know the terminology, but you know which version of yourself is authentic at that level. That's why for me, it's so important that people meditate, but meditate deeply.
Yes.
You know, beyond surface thoughts. Because that's not really meditations, that's called thinking. You're not meditating if all you're doing is thinking.
Yeah. So starting with 5 minutes a day is good, but yeah.
Yes, 5 minutes a day is a perfect way to start. And even if that's too long, start with a minute. And don't tell me you don't have time. Weird things happen when you start to meditate. Time opens up.
Yeah.
And you create more time for it. So this is what I tell people when they say they don't have time. I say meditate when you're taking a dump. Meditate when you're in the shower.
I have heard you say that at Synecor.
Meditate as you're putting clothes in the washer, as you're washing dishes. You can actively meditate. You can focus on your breathing. You can focus on where you are. That's actually called mindfulness.
Yeah.
Right, but mindfulness is a form of meditation. She's playing with the books over there on meditation.
You're always aware of something. It's just where are you putting your attention?
Exactly.
Right? Is it you're lost in a thought in your head, or are you putting it on what you're doing right now? Or Yeah.
Thich Nhat Hanh was famous for, if you're going to wash a cup, wash the cup.
Yeah.
Because if you're washing your dishes and thinking about work or thinking about the kids, you're not present. You're not washing your dishes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
go ahead.
I remember spending a lot of time doing that, just washing the dishes.
Yeah.
You know, like even just focusing on that was a lot, you know?
I remember feeling the water for the first time. Now, I've washed dishes since I was 5 years old, you know, so you would think I'd know what the water felt like, right? But you're in there and you're washing and you're just trying to, and you know what wet feels like.
Yeah.
Right? You know your hands are wet, but I didn't know what the water felt like until I became very mindful of the experience of the water running over my hands and how it felt differently coming straight from the faucet than coming off of a cup or something else. And it became like this real intimate moment. And that's, mindfulness can be like that. Mindfulness for me got me in touch with my own intimacy with life. You know, it's like, wait a minute, I'm washing this cup. It sounds so silly, but it's beautiful. I'm washing this cup and I'm feeling water for the first time. I've known what wet is, but this is my first intimate interaction with water. And I grew up in a swimming pool, being a competitive swimmer,
Wow.
a surfer, and a lifeguard. But it wasn't until I became mindful while washing dishes that I felt water. And I hope that makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So mindfulness, meditation, if you think you can't do it, that's a self-limiting thought. And if you sit down and be quiet with yourself, and the thoughts that come up is, see, I can't do this, see, I can't do this, then what you've discovered is you have resistance to knowing yourself. So the meditation's already working because the resistance came up.
I remember, I don't know if something you did or if it was like a meditation I was listening to, but I remember them saying, and if right now what you're doing is judging yourself for not doing it right, and then judging yourself for judging yourself, well, now you know you judge yourself.
Yes, exactly.
A lot, and that's great. So so there is no bad meditation or there is no wrong meditation. No matter what happens in meditation, it's a learning experience, right? So it's not a waste of time if you sit there and you're scatterbrained the whole time, you know, because
the only wrong meditation is the one you don't do.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not wrong, it's just you're not doing it. And why aren't you?
And sometimes you do stop for a while. I mean, I've had that happen, you know?
Well, we can be militant with it, you know, we can be so disciplined that we are what some people call militant or some people call devotion. You know, you can be that committed to something. But with meditation, to get the benefits from it, nobody's asking you to be that committed. Right?
Right.
Commit to yourself first.
Can't hear him.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Her hair's going to go everywhere. Commit to yourself first. And so what might that look like? So committing to yourself first would be that I'm going to try something new.
Which in early recovery, I highly recommend doing. Don't commit to huge things. Commit to little things. Like for me, it was, instead of being a diva, I'm going to get to work on time because I was known for being late. And now I have a reputation for being on time. I mean, at work. Don't expect me to be on time for other things, people.
Corpus time.
Please. All my friends know this. They tell me like half an hour before I'm supposed to be somewhere, actually. I know y'all do that. And I don't blame you. But, wait, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the little things. Starting over, commit to, like what we were saying, like 2 minutes of meditation today or 5 minutes or whatever it is that, you know, don't commit to like half an hour to 45 minutes a day because you're not, that's not a realistic commitment. Right?
Exactly. Commit to the things that have given you hope. Commit to the things that have given you a little bit of joy. You know, so if you've tried meditation and it gave you hope, then keep going. Always be open to trying new things like meditation, and if you get benefit out of it, keep trying it. If you try mindfulness and you get benefit out of it, keep trying it. Because the thing about recovery is you're recovering yourself. Okay? That's all you're doing. You're recovering yourself. You're going back home to you. And all of these things are simply welcoming signs. Welcome home. How do you get home? Follow this path or follow that one. But they all kind of have this thing that has to do with self-reflection, with being able to look as life is your mirror. You know, the subconscious loves becoming conscious. So, and this is a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, but some people get it. You know, that everything that's happening outside of you is a reflection of your subconscious, of something that you hold as true within you. You may not resonate as that. Like I've had people say, I'm not a murderer. I'm like, well, no, but you might want to murder me right now. So that having qualities and engaging in them are two different things. So try to understand that we're all here living out our judgments until we no longer judge ourselves anymore. We are all here feeling like we're broken, trying not to be broken when we're actually perfect. We all feel a little lost. We all fall off the path. Nobody's 100% pious that I've met anyway.
Yeah.
I can't say nobody is, but I've not met a 100% pious person anywhere. So, kindness, compassion for self, which simply looks like this if you've not been compassionate or kind to yourself, or you're not used to this kind of lingo, okay? Kindness and compassion for self simply means I'm going to take 5 minutes for me. If that means I have to tell everybody I'm taking a massive dump, or I'm going for a walk, or taking the dog for a walk, or I have to go sit in my car or on the back stoop, I'm going to take 5 minutes for myself because I'm stressing out, because life is blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take that 5 minutes and I'm going to connect with myself. I'm going to be very mindful about what's happening. Maybe I'm going to focus on my breathing. Maybe I'm going to go deeper and ask my subconscious to show me what I'm ready to see. But you have time. Give yourself the opportunity. That's the first part of kindness and compassion. Giving yourself opportunities, possibilities.
And it's amazing that space opens up. So much space opens up when you do that, right? And then you can more clearly see, the path. It's crazy how but that is how it works.
How right action just pops up from wise understanding.
Yeah.
If I do a meditation, like I've had the concept of deceitfulness pounding into my head, and at first I was trying to find where I was doing something wrong, right? Because what comes with deceitfulness? Shame and guilt, right? And it wasn't that anything actively was within me that had done something wrong. It was this level of awareness to the subtler fields of myself, where I had not yet fully felt the effects of deceit on my nervous system, right? Whether people were deceitful to me or I was being deceitful. When it came down to it, in that reflecting pool of deceit, what I found out that there was no others, right? And if there is deceit, it is merely a distorted reflection of insecurity, right? So people who are insecure are often not truthful. They're often deceitful, but that doesn't mean they're bad people.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about a 5-year-old. 5-year-olds learn deceit really quickly because they're learning that they manipulate reality. And they might break a dish. And so to them, they want the big purple elephant to be the one that broke the dish. And to them, it's perfectly logical. A 5-year-old doesn't know they're being deceitful. They just know that that's what they want it to be. They don't want it to be them because that feels bad.
Yeah.
Right? But instead of teaching our children that they can show responsibility for what they've done without beating themselves up, we beat them up first for lying and then for making a mistake. So this is how quickly we get trained to lie and be deceitful even to ourselves.
Yeah.
To not follow through with our imagination, to not let our world develop on its own. we're told, no, you're lying, that's not what happened, you know, that's, we come into a world without being taught how to handle the emotional flow of that world. And who do we have to teach us? Sorry, Mom and Dad, but it's you. It was me. It was her.
Yeah, I wish I would have raised my daughter with who I am right now, but I think every parent wishes that, so.
Yeah. I'm grateful enough that I have been able to sit with my children and apologize.
Yeah.
And take responsibility and make amends, and just for being a dysfunctional human.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't know how to parent better, but thankfully I had the grace to get myself into parenting classes. You know, I always managed to find a way to not be the environment I grew up in. Right. I wasn't perfect at it in the beginning. I'm not perfect at it now, but I really wasn't perfect, but I was determined, you know, and when I started meditating again, that's how determined I was. And I got the glimpses of all the stuff I had buried, all the traumas I had buried. That's when I first started breathing again. You know, even though it was scary and it was frightening and it was uncomfortable. My therapist taught me a very valuable lesson. She said, nobody has ever died from uncomfortable. Because I was like, I feel like I'm suffocating. I'm going to die. It's uncomfortable. And she goes, I hate to tell you this, but nobody's ever died from being uncomfortable. And she was right. Just because it felt like it was going to kill me to bear the weight of this uncomfortableness.
Yeah, I mean that is how it feels. Like it's the weight of the world a lot of times. I remember feeling that a lot. Yeah.
And it's overwhelming because you believe you've been taught at some point that you're too small to handle all of that. You've shut it down.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've gotten off track, but when you realize that you're off track, let's just go with it. When you realize that you're off track, that's one of the times we usually go, oh, I should be doing better.
Yeah.
Right? Like I shouldn't have gone off track right now. I should have kept my thoughts together.
Yeah.
And the first thing we want to do is condemn ourselves.
Yeah, but we should ourselves.
We should ourselves. We should ourselves and should ourselves. So I'm going to show just a really quick redirect. You know, you just take a breath. And you accept what's happened. Okay, my train of thought left. And you welcome something new. Welcome everything. By the way, that's going to be in the, oh my God, connection over content series is welcome everything. I can't even talk anymore. So we welcome everything. We welcome the missteps. We welcome the uncomfortableness. We welcome the joy. We welcome the fear. We welcome the love, especially the love that scares. We welcome receiving when receiving can be scary. We welcome giving when giving can be scary. All of these aspects of functionality that are scary because we've been dysfunctional. We give that all a chance by simply being still, right? By being still. So I meditated in my mid-20s and all this crap came up and I thought it was too overwhelming for me to handle. And my therapist told me, promised me I wasn't going to die from my overwhelmingness. My therapist told me I wasn't going to die from the overwhelming emotions, that it was more about, this is where I wanted to go in the first place. It was more about opening myself up to the emotions.
Right.
The reason why it felt like I was overwhelmed by them was because nobody ever told me how to handle them.
Right, which is why I think a lot of people turn into addicts, right?
Yeah.
I know it explains what happened to me for sure.
It explains what's happened to me.
Yeah.
And, and it explains the dopamine addictions that are in the world right now from our devices and stuff, and how those addictions have kept us in a separate self mentality and reality, and we're seeing what's happening from that,
and it's crazy once you actually start facing all this stuff that seems unfaceable. you figure out how to face it, you know?
Exactly.
It's so weird. It really is just that simple. Well, okay. Well, if you got yourself into that, you can get yourself out of that, right? Yeah.
You start to realize that facing these things is the norm.
Yeah.
You know, that in facing them, life functions, but in not facing them, life doesn't function.
Because you're going to have to keep facing things for the rest of your life. It just becomes much less of a slap. You know, like my bottom was life giving me the biggest bitch slap. Or you know what I mean? Just
Yes,
like,
I do.
are you going to wake up now? Wham!
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And now they're a little more like, sometimes they're still got some power to them, but it's more of a nudging or of a, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
than it is.
What it has been for me is it's gone from these big crashing waves to these, you know, feeling the resistance and getting excited over the resistance, knowing what's on the other side of it.
Yes.
And then also to allowing my own unraveling from all of the distorted belief patterns. And then what that unraveling leads to, which has, it's recovery, but it's not this stage of recovery. Getting unfurled from the dysfunctional belief patterns is beyond liberating, but it's not the liberation, but it is beyond liberating, because suddenly you function.
Yeah, you have a better operating system.
Yeah, and
leveled up.
You know how to make choices.
Yeah, set boundaries and keep them, which is for me has been probably one of the biggest things that I've learned how to do, you know, because that's what keeps you safe, you know. I was putting my security out there, so learning to set boundaries and stay in those, I think, is huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I hated the word boundaries when I started, because I always thought boundaries meant I was caging myself in.
Right.
You know, just like I thought discipline was a negative thing because I was given a distorted version of discipline. So you had to learn new relationship with ideas.
And words,
you know, and words.
Yeah.
Because words can trigger you. You know, somebody said discipline, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You know, I'll use my will over your discipline, you know. And I just was saying my own discipline. Y'all use my discipline because your will is your discipline. But what you learn through meditation and mindfulness is that discipline isn't really what we need on the surface. Discipline helps us in our practice of meditation and mindfulness.
Right, which is why wise effort is in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. But when we just make it about discipline and just make it about wise effort and not use any of the other spokes on the wheel, you're not going to get very far. The wheel's not going to turn very well.
Nope.
No, because discipline isn't. If it just took discipline to have a functional life, everybody would be functional, you know?
Yeah.
But I've tried discipline to have a functional life and nothing else, and all it showed me was how dysfunctional I was with discipline. So I knew
I
that
love
all
that.
this.
It's always the most simple thing in the end. You're all, oh.
It is. You know?
It is that simple.
If you keep it small, right, and you're going to find out how large you are, but if you keep the simplicity, the small gains, like I meditated yesterday for 5 minutes and I slept better, you know, that's a gain. Take it as inspiration to meditate for 5 to 10 minutes the next day or later in the day.
Yeah.
I do like to tell people who are starting out to go back to, we're wandering. When you're starting out with this, please specify a certain time of day.
Yeah.
Make
Absolutely.
it a habit because you're trying to learn new habits anyway. So make a specific time of day that you're not going to get bothered on a regular basis. Even if you have to wake up 20 minutes earlier, you can do it. I swear.
If you have to meditate in the bathroom because you have little kids and that's the only place you can be alone.
Turn the water on, put the soap in your hair, and meditate.
Yeah.
Feel the water on your skin. Feel it going down and hear it in the drain. Be present. That is a light form of meditation. It's very relaxing, it's very grounding, and it helps reduce cortisol, which is important, especially with the water running over you.
And the more you do it, the more you will just do it without having to work to do it.
Yeah.
It'll become more of like a natural state.
You'll find yourself first, you'll dedicate some time, and then you like it, so you dedicate more time and more space. You might create an altar, you might put a cushion down,
Yeah.
you create an environment. And then you outgrow that because you start to realize you can meditate anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You can meditate while you're driving. Well, I'm not going to tell people to meditate while driving.
Just be
'cause I don't-
present. Be present.
Yeah, be present. But what I mean by that is, if you're at a long light or you're stuck in traffic, you can take those minutes, instead of getting anxious and aggressive, to focus on the breath, to focus on your legs in the car, to take 2 minutes. Like if you're stuck in traffic, you got at least 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
To just sit there and take inventory of where you're at. I'm getting really aggravated. This feels like this. And choosing not to react to it, but to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
So you can turn all these everyday little inconveniences into opportunities to practice, right? And it's
Honestly, it makes the day a lot more joyful, a lot more color. It seems like such a simple thing. Just pay attention more to what's actually going on right now at that moment. And it's crazy how much magic is in that,
People might start asking you, you seem less stressed. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And you might go, I do?
Yeah. Oh.
Well, maybe I am.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
you don't really see it until somebody else sees it.
Stop and smell the roses. That's where that came from. I think,
Yep.
You're not going to stop to smell them if you don't even notice that
And
they
do you
smell
know
good.
how old that saying is?
I don't.
It's like over 100 years old.
Oh, I thought you were going to say.
I don't know the exact date, but I know it's really old. I know it's over 100 years old. I want to say the 1800s, but I could be wrong. It could be like 1900, but it's over 100 years old to stop and to smell the roses. So if it's that old, that's how long. It might have come from the Industrial Revolution, actually.
Maybe.
Because we've been pushing ourselves and ignoring ourselves for a long time. Beginning meditation doesn't need to feel like a chore. It needs to feel like a treat.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to feel like something that you're honoring yourself with instead of homework. Although it can feel like that sometimes, but for beginners, I really try to push the curiosity and exciting part of, look, just go figure out what it's like to be you, not focused on a certain thought or a certain thing for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And see how that makes you feel. You might feel calmer. So imagine how you might feel after 20 minutes. And then imagine maybe 30 to... I meditate for an hour or two now.
And what's crazy, what floats up as you're sitting there, like that's where I realized how negatively I talk to myself was in how that voice in my, and I was just so mean to myself. And that's where I really realized, like, wow, how much of an impact does that have on my day if I'm constantly talking to myself that way, And so then from meditation, from that, floating up in meditation, then in my mindfulness practice throughout the day, that became like an intention of mine. Like I would set the intention for that awareness of that happening so that I could, redirect or do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like notice that I'm doing that so that I can be nicer to myself. And it's
Right.
crazy how much happier you are if you're nice to yourself, right? Yeah.
When you notice the negative self-talk, that's awareness, right?
Yeah.
You're suddenly aware of what you've been saying to yourself repeatedly for years. And there's this really weird thing about awareness. Once it grabs hold of something, it doesn't let it go.
No.
So once you become aware of this negative self-talk, and it's not like you weren't aware before, no, this is really aware of it. You see it, you know it, it's like, oh my God, like you just said, I've been talking to myself like this for years.
Yeah.
Once you have that kind of awareness, the next time it happens, it's like right here.
Yes.
And then it's like right here. And then it's like
going to
an
be ugly
octopus
for a
on your
little bit.
face.
Yeah. It's not going to look pretty. It's not like healing. It's just, tiptoeing through the tulips or something. No.
No. It's
facing
a
your
lot
darkest
like
fears.
well, when you buy that red car, how many red cars are on the road?
Yeah.
As soon as you become aware of something and it's in your life, it's now it's striving to become conscious, right? And now you get to nurture that consciousness as it grows. So it's coming up from the subconscious, and it feels like crap, and it doesn't like itself, and it's all this darkness. So how are you going to nurture that? I know people that treat it like weeds and pull it out and throw it away.
Yeah.
And if that works for you, great. But I prefer more loving nature, and I go and see what is actually happening there. Do I need to love myself more?
Yes.
Am I not accepting this aspect of my own humanity, this dark shadow that doesn't need to go away and doesn't need to be made evil and doesn't need to be prayed away? It needs to be understood.
Well, that's that's to me where the spiritual growth and the healing is digging around in all of that,
There it is. Sorry.
No worries.
I talked for a while in my mouth.
Trip.
This is my cardiologist suggestion, and I saw this in his office, and then I found one.
Wow.
And see, it says, "Ready, set, drink." You've got it. So it's
I wish I had that for everything in life.
I wish it came with a straw.
That's how you become, right? Show them this is how I learned how to start talking to myself instead of being mean.
Every couple of hours, you nurture yourself with what you need. Right now,
crazy how much
mine's
more
water.
Yeah, you'll get done.
I love to remind myself what it's not so heavy now. But it obviously still comes up. But I used to love to remind myself what just a deadbeat person I was.
Yeah,
Nobody was as
too.
bad as me.
Yeah, especially as a mother who is not doing the best job in the world. Yeah.
Maybe serial killers were worse off than me, but in my head, I just was. I couldn't have been a good person, because otherwise, why would life treat me so bad? You know? And why would I continue to be dysfunctional and distorted? There must be something wrong. Then you start meditating and you start getting mindful and you start realizing, no, maybe that's not true.
Yeah.
I loved that you said you keep a meditation journal. Will you talk about meditation journals, please? Because I think that's important.
Well, because I forget stuff so much. Sometimes with meditation, it's just the fact that it's a repetitive thing that things start to sink in. But sometimes I have insights where I'm like, oh, I had never realized that is because of that, So that's why I started to write stuff down. But also because I also wanted to start, I knew I wanted to start teaching meditation. So I wanted to write down, I guess, it's more of like I'm writing down what's going on in my mind, because I want to see, neuroplasticity and, being able to build new neural pathways. I think I'm almost recording that.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
It does.
I'm putting that process into words.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because I teach writing, and writing is such a big thing for me, that's what made sense for me to do it.
There's also a cognitive thing to that, though, because when you put things, use your arm, and you put you're using more of your left side. If you're right-handed, because it's cross-wired.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of like you're recording.
Yeah.
Into everything. My friend Frank taught me that. He said there's a reason why oral tradition didn't stay oral tradition, and we developed alphabets and language, because as soon as we found out that we could write things down and document, could be a whole nother thing, is we solidified ourselves to ourselves.
Ooh, I love that.
Right. So when you're documenting these things, you're solidifying for yourself into yourself, what you've gained.
The metaphysical to the physical. Yeah.
Exactly.
Love that.
New
Ooh.
pathways, new ownership of who you are, new script, to who you are. And it all comes to meditation and mindfulness and self-inquiry.
It's so cool.
It is.
It's the coolest thing in the world.
It is. So if you want to know how, because I think we need to wrap this up.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to know how, just go find beginner meditation practices, because I really don't want to teach you yet another technique that I've probably learned from somebody else. There's so many different ways to meditate. The main point is to find the one that works for you. There's active meditations, walking meditations. If sport is your thing and you're not doing it in a dysfunctional way, or exercise, that can be great meditation. I have a friend who goes running. He runs for up to 10 miles, and on his runs, he does all his processing.
Ooh, I love that.
Because he gets into his flow state and he can process. Basically, I think he's getting into theta while he's running.
Makes sense.
And so he's in theta, and he can work on his belief systems. So if all you want to do is become, better at this or better at that, those kind of meditations are absolutely wonderful. They're good to get you going, right? And then maybe after you are used to an active meditation, you'll try a sitting meditation or a more stillness type meditation. You don't have to stay with one kind, right?
Yeah, that's what makes it so fun.
There's meditations with music, there's meditations with nothing.
Anything and everything. Yeah.
Do you want to add anything?
I use Insight Timer. There's tons of meditation apps. This is just the one that I use. And I used it, I think, for the first year and a half or so free. It's free. And then I started paying because I realized that I could I could have folders and I could save certain meditations in certain folders, which was handy because whenever I'm recommending meditations to people, I like to send them a meditation. But and then I think so it's $60 a year, I think, once a year, which to me is worth it to have all these other things. And you can take courses in there. They have classes you can take.
That's very cool.
It is cool. It's all about discovery, and I think that's what's cool. Keep playing around. There's definitely some meditation teachers whose voices I can't stand, so I can't listen to their meditations because their voice drives me crazy.
I'm the same way. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza, but some of his meditations I can't do.
Yeah, it's just so don't keep searching around basically to find what works for you.
Or record your own voice doing a meditation. You'd be surprised at how much your own voice can become soothing for you. My favorite go-to to send people in a meditation is Keith Wilson's Go to Glow meditation on YouTube. I think there's a couple of versions that people saved and put up on YouTube. It's fun. It's a very short meditation, but you can make that one as long as you want. And it's fun, and it's akin to a Buddhist meditation that has you focus on the sun in your heart. And I like the simple ones. I like the ones that just keep it very simple. And I used to lead very elaborate meditations, and these days I really like to just sit and breathe.
Yeah.
Because whatever needs to rise to the surface, it rises, and I don't have to go, at least at this stage, right now, I don't have to go looking. Things are going to on their own. Sometimes you got to take the pickaxe, but thankfully right now it's not work, it's play. It's uncomfortable play sometimes. Should have seen me the other day with deceit all around me. What is going on? Oh, it's just that. Oh, got all bothered.
Oh, it's you again.
Oh, I recognize you. But that was really literally the first time that I realized I had not sat with just that concept ever.
Yeah.
And I had sat with my dysfunctional self and this, and I just thought that was all kind of incorporated. But obviously, there's layers and subtleties to us.
So many layers.
Yeah. And you have to also look at what's going on in consensus reality, because sometimes consensus reality is fueling the mind. And so watch
Yeah.
what you're watching.
Big time.
You're feeding your mind.
That's why social media is not the best.
Or constant war movies or fighting or dramas all the time
Yeah.
that keep you stressed out and engaged in dysfunctional emotions that you don't know how to handle.
Very true.
Yeah, but really, it's your life. Watch whatever you want. Just mind your mind. It's the meditation teacher in me that's telling them what not to watch. I have people I know who like to watch like vampire stories and stuff, and then they wonder why they always feel like a victim in life.
Oh, wow. Oh, I thought it was for the sex.
If it was just for that, why would it be vampires though?
I don't
You know what I mean?
I'm one of those weirdos that likes serial killers.
What does that say about Gwen?
We'll probably edit that out. All right. Oh.
No,
So,
it depends on why one is watching something, of course.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
if it's
yeah.
a general curiosity or if it's stimulating your own dysfunctional mindset. That's really what that is about. So mind what you're feeding your mind. If you're feeling like a victim to life and you're watching things on constantly that are about drama, high drama and victimization,
Yeah.
you know, you're watching what's going on in your reality coming back at you, and maybe you want to turn that screen off and pay attention to this screen.
Yeah. This is way more interesting.
The drama's a lot more intimate. Anyway, I think that's it for today.
I think we're done.
One day we'll get comfortable doing
Yeah.
this.
I don't know if I ever even looked where the camera is. I'm always just like looking in that general direction. So
I always look at the numbers on the top.
maybe that's it. I really have no clue. I don't know.
Anyway, I don't care sharing this part because it's part of what is.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't pretend to be polished doing this. This is just to share information anyway.
Yeah.
But we would like to get up to 50 subscribers.
Almost there.
We're almost there, and there's only one reason I want 50 subscribers.
So we can go live.
We can go live. We're much better live.
Yes.
And kind of like have a class live like we do out at Cinecore where we go play with those lovely people.
Yeah, and especially since you're leaving.
Yeah, I'm taking off to the great white whatever. Traveling around with my husband who's retiring, so we will be doing this Zoom call like for a while until I get back, and we'll see how that goes. I'm kind of excited about that because the perspective's going to be so different, you know.
I know. I'm excited to hear back from you or hear from you. I don't know why back from you. I don't know.
Well, I get to go be with a bunch of people who have been, at one part of the trip anyway, who have been dealing with their mental illnesses and their chronic diseases and their addictions and their dysfunctions, and you know, basically everybody in this life has this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so
To
we might as well start talking about it.
Yeah.
You know,
Anything and everything.
anything and everything, which love accepts everything and anything. So yes, please do keep an eye out on the connection over content coming. I've got 3 recorded. I'm going to record 10 and have them all up before I go on my trip. And they're all about 10 minutes long. They're not real long.
Perfect.
And so the first one is all about welcoming everything, which people hate. Or they get uncomfortable by that. You know, hate's a strong word. But it usually causes people to go, wait, well, I'm not going to welcome everything. It's like, so in welcoming everything, we talk about judgment and how assumptions work in relating and judgment works in relating and how we don't welcome everything, and that limits our receptivity to the relations that we're in. I know some of you are going to jump on it and instantly go to things like abuse and all of that. So before you make all the comments, just wait until these are up and watch them, and then make the comments over there and see if they match. See if it still brings that up for you, because maybe it won't. Maybe it will answer the questions that are really lurking underneath those comments that can be made. So hopefully you will comment on this, on more things you want to hear us talk about. Hype it up, ring the bell, click all the clicky things. I don't know what to say. It helps the algorithm. We don't really need you to subscribe. We just need you to subscribe. Just so we can go live. We really want to go live and have fun, especially while I'm gone. That would be so much fun.
It would be so much fun
to go live.
I think we'll get there.
So yeah, so we're going to just put it in our heads to get 100 subscribers, so that we can go live. Why stop at 50?
Yeah. Why limit ourselves?
Why limit ourselves?
I don't know.
I'll go for 1 million. Ooh, that's a lot.
Wow.
I'll go for it.
Till next time.
Till next time. See ya. This is us from the edge of the mirror. Bye.